Hey guys, welcome back to the train room, or should I say the disaster zone. It's a mess in here, and that's my mission after this video, is to start tidying up and then start works again. So it's been a while since my last video, of course. I was away in Savannah, Georgia for I think 9 weeks on a refit there on the boat I work on. So whilst I was there, I had a bit of an eBay session. God, if the wife ever finds out, I'm absolutely just dead as a donut. Anyway, so what's new? I'll just run through this because there's a lot to get through. So I bought it off a hobby shop in Maryland, and they shipped it down to the boat. But after that, number 3 for quite a while, and for some reason, I don't know why, but they seem to go for a premium here in Europe and Germany. So anyway, I got that. And I've got a decoder for it, and I've put the decoder in. An old original LGB decoder, like a 55021, I think it is. Sorry for the geekness. And then over here, after a very long time of being in pieces, I've got my original number 2 Steins back together. And again, I put the same decoder in that one as well, a 55021. Yeah, the one I had before, I did previously put a decoder in it, and I wasn't watching what I was doing, didn't have my glasses on, I wired it wrong and cooked it. So that was 35 euros down the drain. So anyway, some pieces falling off there. So that's that. They run great, I'm really happy with them. I've managed to program them with the little programming device, which I'll go through that in a minute. So a word of caution, if you like the Steins, that's the old 2020. And this one is... it's the newer generation, you can tell by the running gear and the finish, and that's a 20211. Now, I was under the impression that the newer generation Steins, to put the decoder in, you could take it apart and you literally just pop the decoder on the existing board. So I was kind of shocked to find when I got this home, that's not the case. It just there's no board at all. There's one tiny little board that sits on top of the motor, and it just connects the 2 lights and the motor and the track power to it. So I ended up having to solder that one as well. And the original decoders that I bought for these are like literally 4 times as big as the one I cooked. So, but I wanted to keep it all original, so that's fine. I bought everything I'm showing you. I bought in the States from all over the place, and they shipped it to Savannah. So I got some really amazing service, not one single complaint from any supplier, any private eBayer. Everybody was great. I'm really, really happy. So hence the reason I bought lots of things. Right, so that's the G-scale stuff. But anyway, just if you're new to this, and probably a lot of you aren't, but if you're new to this, be careful, because the old, like the 2010s and the 2020s, compared to the newer versions, which has that style of running gear, which is different, they are totally and utterly different. I mean, you couldn't get more different if you tried. About the only thing that's the same, I think, are these little loop sections on the front and the rear, and the hooks and the driver. I mean, you know, maybe this piece, but literally everything is different. They are not as interchangeable as you think. So just bear that in mind if you're into it. I don't mind, because I like both designs, but just letting you know for your own information. So when I got home, I started building this. I'm on another tunnel porter, so it transitions from the bridge, and then it comes out at an angle here, and I'll have to do a bit of fancy carving to get it all working to blend in with this top section here. So, and this will all be covered. So, but I'll be able to pull it out very easily, so I can get to my transformers. I'm also going to put the OsO scale DC transformer in as well, because I'm only running one train, so it's just a runaround loop. So that's the mission there. So, and obviously that I'll, you know, cut it and carve it and paint it, so in the end it'll come out something like that. So that's the idea anyway. Right, so I'll start with the N scale update. So I bought a bunch of N scale stuff when I was in the States, and I'll just run through it quickly. I've been after an RS2 it's all Kato, by the way. I was after an RS2 for a long time. I've got some GP9s, which I've got decoders for, which I also need to solder in, which is going to be quite a job because of the old Atlas ones. But anyway, this one has the decoder fitted, so I'm really pleased with that. I hadn't intended on buying anything Southern Pacific, but these came up with the decoders installed and sound. Now I'm not that bothered about sound, but they're included, so, and the price was amazing, so I snapped those up. And then I had to go and hunt down a B unit. That doesn't have the decoder in it, but I've got a decoder for it, so I need to install that. So the next thing on the list, something I've been after for a long time, is some good old-fashioned Santa Fe PA1s. I wanted 52 numbers, not the newer ones. These do not have decoders, but I've got, again, I bought some decoders in the States when I was there because they're just cheaper and easier. Not that much cheaper, actually. So the prices, I was quite surprised. Stuff in the United States was a lot more expensive than I remember, shall we say. But anyway, it's fine. I still got my money, right? So next on the list is some F3s. I wanted a couple of Santa Fe F3s, the old type with the war bonnet. I didn't manage to find any F3B units, but I still want to do that. So, but I've spent enough money, I don't need to be spending any more, so I'll have to make do with those, which is fine. I'll probably use those on my, I think because I've got some old sort of early intermodal style stuff, the old Atlas ones that got the trailers on them. So I'll probably use it with that, and a brown Atlas caboose. These PAs, by the way, I'm going to use those on my mail train. I've got a Santa Fe mail train, the micro trains one. So that's those two. Super happy with all that. Next on the list, again, something else I've been after for a long time, is I wanted some E8 and 9 Santa Fe's. So I know in the 50s, Santa Fe ran these between, I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but they ran these between, I think it was like Chicago and New Orleans or Louisiana or something like that. It was on the north-south route. And they tended to only run them in AB units, and usually with just 8 cars, 8 coaches. So I got these old corrugated ones. This Carlo, some of the Kato corrugated are actually quite old now, so I struggled to get those. The first one I bought was it was so cheap I couldn't believe it. I had to look at it twice. So it was so cheap, so I pushed the buy button thinking this guy's going to realize what he's done. Anyway, about 5 minutes later I get a ping and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't ship it right now. I'll ship it in 2 or 3 days time. I'm really busy." And I thought, yeah, he's realized what he's done and I'm not going to get it. But anyway, he did. He shipped it and he stuck to his word, and I was really pleased. So then I had to go and get the second one. Well, didn't have to, I wanted to. So I went and got the second 4-car set to go with it. And yeah, that I had to pay almost full whack. But the cheap one offset it. So, but yeah, the stuff Kato is just insane. I can't believe how expensive it has become. All the stuff I've already bought, I'm really glad I bought it like 6, 7, 8 years ago. I certainly couldn't afford to do the same now. And then the other thing I couldn't resist was a 20th Century Limited. I kind of fell in love with it when it came out some years ago and could never really justify getting it, but it was on sale. It was a good price. The decoders are included in that as well, so they're DCC. By the way, that's DCC installed. That is not DCC installed. So that's why I bought those, because the price was great with the decoders. So, but those 5 and the 1B unit, I've got decoders for all of those, so I need to install those. But anyway, so I can literally take it out of the box and go, and I haven't run it yet. I haven't run any of this stuff yet. I've literally just taken it out of the box today, since I got back. So all of this I managed to shoehorn into my suitcase, all that kind of stuff and that locomotive. So thank God for maritime baggage, right? And the next thing I went and bought some building flats, and you can see they're still wrapped in plastic. I've just kind of propped them up to get an idea of what it's going to look like. So, and it covers up some of the track at the back. So that's kind of the goal with that, and I'll play with that. I bought them from this guy called PGH Train Fanatic. And I bought a bunch more as well. I got a box full of them, and they weren't, I'll be honest, they weren't super cheap. When I started adding it all up, what all those different pieces cost, it was really quite expensive. But I'm happy with them. They're perfect for what I'm looking for. They don't look anything in the plastic, but you know, if you can imagine when you've got the rolling stock in front and some scenery and the paint and all that, I think they'll work well. And as I've said before, I don't have any space here because I'm squeezing so much into a small space. So that's kind of the mission there. Would I buy from him again? He was a great service. They arrived very quickly. But yeah, I think I've got enough flats now. If I mean, there's a lot of companies doing these flats at the moment. I don't know, I would maybe try a different route. I like them because they're literally ready to go. You just take them out of the box and use them. And the other cool thing he's done, which I like, he's put in a couple of little LEDs on each one. So it looks a bit weird in the daytime, but at night or in low light conditions, I think they'll look fantastic actually, with everything else going on, of course, not in isolation. So yeah, if you're after building flats, yeah, I would say give them a go. Get a few to test. I like these because they're sort of semi three-dimensional, so it looks like there's a lot going on in the background there. And of course, I don't really have time, well, I've got the space, but I don't really have the time to be building a lot of buildings. So for me, they're perfect. So yeah, I'd say he's all right, actually. I wasn't too sure what to expect when I bought them, but yeah, I'm glad I got them and I can recommend them for this application. So that's about it, really. What's new? What else is new? Oh yeah, I wanted to. Right, so I'll better explain. I've got this decoding module, or decoder programming module, which I've got wired on a separate little track here, which I just sort of threw in there yesterday. And that works fine for changing addresses and a few basic settings, but I wanted access to more information. So many years ago, LGB made this. Well, it's a programmer basically, and that's the number of it. And so it was actually, I bought this, I think it was last year. Bought it off a guy in Switzerland for something ridiculous like a tenner. I mean, the shipping cost more from Switzerland than the device. And it's great. I mean, he sent it with all the software. So I got the original software and the new version. Now, just be advised, when I say new, I mean this is 2004 is new. Okay, so it's 20 years old. So you got the programmer, you got the wires to connect it, and you got to be careful the way you connect it. Do not, under any circumstances, connect the brown and the white wire to the transformer, to the program of the transformer. All right, the brown and white wires actually go on the track. The green and yellow is what goes to the transformer. Right, if you do it wrong, you will cook this. All right, so if you're into this older LGB stuff, just bear that in mind. Just a little word of advice, and I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. I personally like using the old LGB electronics. All right, that's just my choice because I wanted everything to be kind of as LGB original as possible. All right, if you're fairly new to G-Scale, whether it's LGB or Bachmann or any of these companies, honestly, do not go down that road, okay? You can do a lot better it's a bit more expensive, but it's 100 times more user-friendly, okay? So I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Unless you're a total electronics geek and you want everything old LGB style, do not go down this road. Works for me, it probably won't work for you, because you wanna make your life as easy as possible, all right? Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. But anyway, I mean, I love what I've got. I really enjoy messing with it, so that's fine. It works for me. And that's about it, really. So anyway, oh yeah, I'll come back to this. So the problem with this system is you need to interface with a PC. As you can see, it's got an old, what we call a D-sub-9 serial connector. So you'll need one of these, and it's a serial to USB adapter. And you'll need to put the correct drivers on your computer for this. Now this is the biggie, this is what you need to bear in mind. This old stuff, it's so old, you can't run it with Windows 11 or 10 or even Windows 7 in most cases. You have to go all the way back to minimum, or the newest you can go back to is Windows XP or Windows 2000 or, God forbid, Windows Millennium. All right, so what I'm doing is I've got an old MacBook down there and I've put Oracle VirtualBox on there, and I can then load Windows XP. Now, Windows XP is so old that I'm struggling to find a packer copy of it. I can buy it on eBay for about, I don't know, anywhere from 50 to 80 euros. And they want to ship you the physical disk and the code. So unless you're prepared to do all that, again, don't go down this road. Okay, don't do what I did. Okay, don't get me wrong, it works fine for me. I'm really happy with it. I enjoy using with it. I enjoy tinkering around with it and all kinds of stuff. But for most G-scale applications, there are lots and lots of new systems out there which are much more user-friendly, and you don't have all these problems. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Okay. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth, really. So what's next? Well, I've kind of got, oh yeah, 2 more things I want to show you. Since I've been home, I bought this turnout, and I bought that turnout over there because I want to, and I already had this left over, so I want to run a little tiny inside loop there, which is just big enough to get all those coaches in. And then I've got another spare siding for the rest of my rolling stock, because until recently I've not been able to have all my rolling stock on the tracks, so that's why I've done that. So, but as you can see, I'm sticking with design. I'm just adding a few more things down here. All right, so the next thing on the cards is, and these are used by the way as well. Funny enough, I bought them off a guy in Malaga, which is only about 100 kilometers away. I couldn't believe it. I've never ever been able to purchase anything G-scale in Spain, and I was on eBay the other night, and there it was. So, and they were a heck of a good price as well. Great service. So that's it. So today's mission is, when I'm finished with the video, is start clearing this mess up, and I'm going to start working on the end scale. And I think what I'm going to do I was thinking about this cabling problem. Sorry for rabbiting on, by the way. This is a long video, but my cabling issue, I don't really want to run cables at the back, because you just know one day I'm going to have to access them and I won't be able to, and I'll have to tear apart the G-scale to get to it, and I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is, on the fascia at the front, is I think I'm going to put some structured cable trunking. Not the big heavy stuff, but you can get fairly low profile, and I'm just going to run it all the way around, so that I can just pop the front off, get to the wires, run it, connect it, disconnect it, do whatever I need to do, solder it. I think that's what I'm going to do. This is going to make life a lot easier. So that's the mission. Yeah, I'll let you know how that goes. Anyway, that's it. So I need to crack on and do this. Funny enough, the guy who gave me this OsO stuff, him and a friend are coming around this weekend for a barbecue, so I want to get a bit more done, so he can see as well there's some progress going on. So his Hornby donation was not in vain. So that's the mission. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And again, I apologize for the shaky camera work, but as you know, I don't make movies. I'm just doing this to share with you guys. All right. Take care. Enjoy the trains, and all the best.